Throughout history, some military minds have stood out, their strategies echoing through the centuries, shaping the way wars are fought and victories are won. From the ancient battlefields of China to the mechanized fronts of the 20th century, 5 generals have left indelible marks on the art of war. Their names resonate not just in history books, but in war colleges, boardrooms, and strategic planning sessions all around the world. Today, we explore the battlefield brilliance of 5 commanders, whose insights continue to guide military leaders and strategists alike. What sets these generals apart is not just their triumphs or notoriety, but the timeless relevance of their strategies. Each confronted unique challenges, unpredictable terrain, overwhelming odds, new technologies, and responded with innovative thinking. In doing so, they authored principles of war that transcend their eras, providing blueprints for leadership, competition, and adaptation in the face of uncertainty. Let's begin with Sun Tzu, the ancient Chinese strategist whose masterpiece, The Art of War, remains a central text in military education worldwide. Living in the tumultuous warring states period over 2,000 years ago, Sun Tzu distilled war down to an intellectual contest. For him, the greatest victory was one that required no fighting at all. He championed deception, speed, and flexibility, famously asserting, "All warfare is based on deception." His teachings emphasize the importance of knowing both yourself and your enemy, a principle echoed in every field from business to politics today. Sun Tzu's tactics revolved around turning chaos into opportunity. He believed in adapting quickly to changing circumstances, exploiting the weaknesses of opponents, and mastering both direct conflict and indirect strategy. Modern military leaders draw from his concepts of psychological warfare, surprise attacks, and using terrain to one's advantage. Even the idea of information superiority and intelligence gathering finds its roots in his writings. In an age when warfare evolves at lightning speed, Sun Tzu's core ideas are more relevant than ever, forming the foundation of irregular warfare and strategic planning worldwide. Next, we move to Napoleon Bonaparte, whose campaigns swept across Europe and changed the face of military organization forever. Rising from humble beginnings, Napoleon understood the synergy between speed, mobility, and decisive action. His innovations included the corps system, dividing large armies into independent units capable of operating separately or together, enabling him to respond with unprecedented flexibility. Napoleon mastered the art of maneuver warfare, exploiting enemy weaknesses and striking before they could react. The legendary French general was always calculating the center of gravity of his opponents, the point at which a decisive blow could collapse resistance. He prioritized rapid movement over cumbersome formation, advocating for the relentless pursuit of retreating enemies to prevent them from regrouping. His strategies underpin the concept of shock and awe, where overwhelming force is applied at a decisive moment to break enemies' will. Military academies worldwide still study his campaigns to understand logistics, operational art, and the psychology of leadership under fire. Turning from the battlefields of Europe, we encounter Karl von Clausewitz, a Prussian officer and philosopher who elevated the study of war to a science. Clausewitz is best remembered for his magnum opus, On War, where he probed the inner workings of conflict, politics, and chance. For Clausewitz, war was more than a contest of arms. It was the continuation of politics by other means. His focus was on the interplay of passion, chance, and rational calculation, warning against the illusion of simple solutions. Clausewitz's theories highlighted the unpredictability of war, encapsulated in his concept of friction, the myriad uncertainties that plague even the best-laid plans. He insisted on the importance of the moral and psychological dimensions of conflict, leadership, morale, and the will to fight. His doctrines remind modern strategists that war is not an isolated event, but entangled with society, politics, and the human element. Today, thinkers and commanders scrutinize Clausewitz to grapple with the chaos of conflict, his insights forming the backbone of operational planning and doctrine from NATO to the US Army War College. Leaping ahead to the 20th century and the mechanized wars that redefined battle, we meet Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox. Rommel achieved fame in World War II for his masterful command of armored units in the North African campaign. Facing vast deserts, supply shortages, and larger enemy forces, Rommel championed audacity, surprise, and initiative. He was a master of exploiting enemy weaknesses, often striking where he was least expected. Rommel's leadership style was rooted in leading from the front. He inspired his soldiers by sharing their risks and by acting decisively, adapting quickly to changing circumstances. He popularized the elusive concept of tempo, the speed at which operations unfold, seeking to keep adversaries constantly off balance. His tactics have become central to maneuver warfare, particularly the concept of the blitzkrieg, rapid, coordinated attacks combining infantry, armor, and air power. Rommel's campaigns are still scrutinized for lessons on mobile warfare, deception, and the psychological aspects of command under extreme pressure. Finally, we come to Heinz Guderian, the brilliant German general and architect of the true Blitzkrieg campaign. Serving in both world wars, Guderian recognized early on the potential of armored warfare. He believed that tanks, far from just supporting infantry, could be the main strike force in a modern army. Guderian advocated for massing armor, breaking through enemy lines with decisive force, and driving deep into enemy territory before resistance could regroup. Guderian's innovations transformed warfare. He insisted on close cooperation between tanks, mechanized infantry, artillery, and air support, forging a doctrine where speed and shock dominated. His relentless focus on communication, initiative at lower levels of command, and decentralized decision-making laid the groundwork for the modern concept of combined arms and mission command. Militaries around the globe still study Guderian's methods to understand how to fight and win in fast-paced, fluid environments. Each of these 5 generals faced vastly different circumstances, different weapons, enemies, terrains, and stakes. Yet they shared traits that set them apart: a willingness to innovate, the ability to adapt to changing realities, and a deep understanding of the moral and psychological elements of war. Their ideas resonate far beyond the battlefield, influencing business leaders, strategists, and policymakers grappling with complex challenges in every domain. The legacies of Sun Tzu, Napoleon, Clausewitz, Rommel, and Guderian remind us that the nature of conflict is always evolving, but the need for insight, adaptability, and decisive action never disappears. Their teachings encourage us to study the past, not as a blueprint for imitation, but as a treasure trove of ideas, tools to be examined, adapted, and applied to the problems of tomorrow. So, the next time you face a challenge, whether in business, life, or leadership, remember these 5 masters of strategy. Explore their writings, reflect on their experiences, and ask yourself, what can I learn from their triumphs and mistakes? The art of strategy is ever relevant, and the generals who mastered it still have much to teach us today.